It's Sunday night, it's 10 to 6, and it's hockey night in the hangar as the latest edition of the M4 Derby takes centre stage this evening as the TSI World Berkshire Bees welcome the Swindon Wildcats to town for their first visit of the 2024-2025 season. This rivalry, in air quotes, has been somewhat the equivalent of a sibling rivalry in recent years, where Swindon, the big brother, just seemed to beat the snot out of their little brother, the Bees. We're here tonight to see if the Bees can turn it around following last Friday's 6-2 defeat in the Link Centre that started the National League season. I'm joined as always when there's a Cats game in town by Tom Graham. And Tom, we're 4 games into the season and these two teams are starting to develop identities, I feel.
Yes, yeah, I think so. I think, you know, you start to see after a few games, you obviously had a bit pre-season as well, you kind of start to see the chemistry between the lines, between the players. You kind of see how new faces do fit into the teams. And yeah, as you say, there's a different identity, I think, for the Bees this year, with obviously a new coach added to the mix in Ashley Tate. There's a new identity to Swindon with a couple of new signings in there, a slightly maybe more defensive look to the team at times than we've had in the last couple of years. So yeah, it's you're starting to see how these teams are fitting together and how things are going to work moving forwards.
Well, obviously the more things change, the more teams stay the same in terms of the league table in particular. After 3 games, even though it is completely pointless of course, we have joint leaders at the top in the Hull Seahawks and of course the Leeds Knights. The Knights winning in Bristol 7-0 last night. Hull beating the Telford Tigers at home, and mostly 28 goals in 3 games for the Hull Seahawks. No signs of slowing down, especially after the signing of Johnny Corneal in the week and a hat-trick on his debut night. The Wildcats currently sit 3rd on 5 points, 2 wins, including a come-from-behind 6-2 win against the Solway Sharks last night, thanks to 4 goals from Aaron Nell. Obviously the 1 point coming from a somewhat bizarre implosion in the last 5 minutes in Romford last Sunday. The Bees got their first point of the year last night up in Peterborough. Obviously, they lost to the Phantoms here 2-1 in the hangar, where every single commentator in Berkshire was unavailable or ill, present company included. They got the point last night, losing in the shootout to the Peterborough Phantoms, as I say, thanks to 41 saves from Max Wright. And Tom, the table, obviously, it feels really silly looking at it 3 games into the season, but in terms of performances, obviously 5 points out of 6 for the Wildcats in particular, you'd take it.
Yeah, I think you would. Obviously, I think there was frustration with how the game in Romford last Sunday ended. You know, the Cats were 2-0 up, kind of going into that last 5 minutes. Take a penalty, you concede on that power play, and then concede with the netminder pulled, lose the game in overtime. So there's an argument, I guess, that it could have been 6. Should have been 6 from 6. But yeah, I think if you offered now 5 points from the first 3 games, including what is always a tricky away game in Romford, you'd have taken it. It's not been perfect. I think the 2 home games have been slow out the blocks in both games against the Bees last Friday, and I wasn't actually at the game last night. I had other commitments, but a slow start where they were 2-0 down after the end of the first period and kind of had to work their way back into the game. So they're not maybe playing fluidly yet, but I think you'd have taken the position or the Wildcats would have taken that position at the start of the season. Obviously, you know, it's completely irrelevant at this point with more than 50 games left for each team. So.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the teams for tonight. Firstly, your home side, the TSI World Berkshire Bees. There's a couple of changes from the side that lost in Peterborough last night. 2, Adam Rossbottom. 5, Ollie Nags. 9, Vanya Antonov. 12, Hallam Wilson. 13, Marcus Mitchell. 15, Ty Cathcart. 16, Adam Erskine. 19, Will Stead. 21, Marcel Balaz. 23, Dominic Gabai. 24, Dan Rose. 27, Josh Smith. 71, Josh Kelly. 74, Liam Morris. 91, Ollie Hemmingsmere, and 94, Stuart Mogg. Ronan Cathcart, I believe, is in Oxford with the Streatham Redhawks, as is Preston Toombs. Ollie Hemmingsmere in the lineup tonight, following Slough's 6-0 demolition job of the Solent Devils in South 1. Netminders, 36, Brett Shepherd, 42, Max Wright. Tom, obviously, the Bees this year, it's a case of more than the sum of its parts. 2 close games against Peterborough last night, obviously discounting the 4-goal game in the Link Centre.
Yeah.
They're playing well, they look a bit more solid defensively. Yeah. You just want to question early on in this season, where are the goals coming from?
Yeah, I think the obvious answer is Marcel Balaz and Dominic Gabai, but you've got to have more than that across the team. Obviously, we know Vanya Antonov can score at this level as well. Max Wright does add solidity in net, as we've seen in those 2 games against Peterborough, only conceding 5 goals in 125 minutes of hockey. But yeah, you have to have to find some goals across the lineup. I think particularly, you know, against the teams who are fighting at the top of the table. That's not to say that these are not fighting at the top of the table, but you've got to find ways to win, and that will involve, I think, more than just 2 or 3 guys having to do the heavy lifting scoring-wise.
Well, our visitors, even the Swindon Wildcats, they are unchanged from the team last night. 3, Balint Picosdi, 11, Chris Jones, 12, Ryan Wells, 13, Sam Bullis, 14, Dylan Lipsey, 16, Reed Sayers, 19, Aaron Nell, 21, Luke Johnson, 24, Tyler Plews, 26, Jake Bricknell, 61, Sam Godfrey, 71, Edgars Bebris, 72, Glenn Billings, 73, welcome back, Ed Bradley, 77, Josh Shaw, 78, Jamie Smith, and 89, the bee killer, Thomas Malasinski. Netminders 30, Rennie Marr, 62, Tyler Perry. And Tom, for the Wildcats this year, the top 6 has also taken on the brunt of the scoring. Before last night, Aaron Nell had scored and exploded for 4 in last night's game. Thomas Malasinski, rather interestingly, hasn't scored a goal yet this season. And last season here, he had 2 hat-tricks in 3 games.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, Thomas hasn't scored. The offense hasn't really been there. I know he actually got 4 assists, I think, last night. So that's, but I think he was 1 point in 2 games maybe before. And you'll confirm 2 points, sorry, in 2 games. So the offense hasn't quite been there for Thomas so far this year. But as you say, I was saying this to Ben Callahan on the way up here. We were both saying he does quite like playing in this rink. As you say, 2 hat-tricks in three games in this rink last year. So no time like the present if he's going to get the monkey off his back, as it was, and find his first goal of the season.
Obviously, in terms of rosters and just firepower, the Wildcats will be everyone's favourites for this game.
Yeah.
The Bees, obviously, you spoke all through the summer that they have to be a harder working team. They have to outwork everyone, and not a case of getting to a skill-based contest, in which case they're going to get spanked.
Yeah, you can't go. I don't think if you're the Bees, you can get into a kind of run and gun game with the Wildcats tonight, because the Wildcats do have the offense. When you can look at now with 4 goals last night, Malasinski we know can score. Jake Bricknell's had a good start to his Wildcats career. You've got points coming off the D. Ryan Wells has a few assists. Ed Bradley scored last Saturday in Romford. Edgars Bebris scored last Saturday in Romford. So Sunday, sorry, in Romford. Days are meaningless, but it's you don't want to particularly on this. It's a small pad. It's a tight neutral zone. I think the Bees have just got to work hard. They've got to get bodies in front of the net. They've got to be aggressive, and they've got to play hard and play physical, and try and just throw the Wildcats off the game and also be clinical, I think, when they get their opportunities.
As the Wildcats take to the ice behind us, the referees for this evening in the Water Wings of Power, Mr. James Irons and Mr. Andrew Jarvie. Welcome back to him this season. And lines of Mr. Chris Edwards and Mr. Rob Puller. Everyone has made it through traffic. We're all good to go.
It was very, very rainy. The kind of west countryside of Reading, it has to be said. Leaving Swindon today was pretty horrible. And I think Mr. Irons and Mr. Jarvie coming from Cardiff got the kind of brunt of that on the M4.
We'll just wait for the Bees down below us, who look ready to go. As Max Wright is ready to go. Like I said, the Bees with their first point last night. They'll be looking for a first win of the season here tonight. And they have somewhat been one of the Wildcats' bogey teams in recent years. Could tonight be the night? We'll find out in about, 2.5 hours' time with any luck. As the camera's frozen. Don't worry, we think the main camera works this week. Fingers crossed and everything, as Max Wright leads the Bees out for tonight's encounter. And we'll be back with you following the national anthem in about 2 minutes' time. as Annika is overjoyed that I'm back already, as I've already muted her earphones so she can't hear me tonight. You missed me. Starting netminders, firstly for the home side of the TSI World Berkshire Bees. Max Wright gets the start in net. He started all 3 games so far this season. An 0-2-1 record. So the penalty shot lost last night in Peterborough, 41 saves as we know. He has a 9.04 save percentage and a 3.6 goals against average in his 3 starts so far. At the other end for the Swindon Wildcats, it is of course Rennie Marr. He is 2-0-1 on the season so far. The 1 overtime loss last week in Romford. He's posting a 9.20 save percentage, a 2.32 goals against average, and as is compulsory, and I have to say it every time, he has scored a goal in Miss Rink.
You have to say that every time he plays this with the rest of his career now, unfortunately.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a goalie goal,
yeah,
of course I have to.
It counts.
The Cats swept the series here in the hangar last season, winning all 3. The Bees will be looking to change that this evening. 2 goalies, Tom. Obviously, Rennie Marr, one of the best at this level. He has 100 and, well, last time I heard it's 109 wins. Obviously, that's now up to 111 wins in his last 4 seasons in the National League. 16 shutouts. Max Wright, a first foray into senior hockey. Senior hockey has looked pretty good this 3 starts.
Yeah, he has. It's like, with any kind of netminder, particularly coming over to a new country, a new league, it took him a little bit of time, I think, to maybe settle in. But his last 2 starts against the Peterborough Phantoms have been really good, and yeah, he'll look to be picking that up tonight.
Some referee James Arms gets us underway. The Bees win the opening draw, dumped into the Cats zone. Ballas with the attempted stick lift. Cats able to get it away. Antonov tries to jump in ahead of Bradley. Wells can't find Bricknell. Good work from Hemmings-Mayer, who already takes the first shift. Cats looks clear. So the Cats in the road blacks tonight. The Bees in the yellow, because it's not gold anymore, as that one's flipped towards goal by Jones. Hemmings-Mayer able to find Ballas. Offside called. Antonov jumping a gun. First break in play, just under 40 seconds.
Yeah, and one of the symptoms of the Wildcats so far this year has been slow starts. So the Bees will definitely, I guess, be aware of that and potentially looking to capitalise. They did take the lead at the Link Centre the other week. And yeah, they'll be looking to try and do that. The Wildcats obviously will be looking to be a bit of a better start. As I say that, they iced the puck for the first time tonight. It's
one of those things, obviously, the new National League website has proven to be a hit, and one of the things that me personally helps me out a lot is when they have the projected lines on there.
Yeah.
The Bees still yet to actually bother to take that seriously, as the D lines have already changed 45 seconds into the night.
Always fun.
Marcus Mitchell pairing Liam Morris on the second unit.
Yeah. It does look like the Wildcats have started with what they've said, which is nice.
Yeah, change it through the night, I don't mind. Goodbye with the shot. That one's off the shoulder of Marr and goes over. Turnover down low. Plews there to clean up. Ross Bottom tries to intercept. Kicked into the corner. Nell. The Cats will come over the blue line and clear. That cross-ice pass batted down by Goodbye, but cleaned up by Nell. Nell with a shot wide of the post. Malasinski. Back to the blue line. Bounce gets it away from Bebris. Stead at the right-hand side. Stopped by Latvian. That one's offside as Goodbye cruises into the Cats offensive zone ahead of the puck.
Yeah, fairly tentative opening couple of shifts, I think, from both teams. Just kind of trying to settle into the game here. Not really a lot to report on yet. There's
no.
One shot off the shoulder of Rennie Marr so far.
You're saying it's not exciting enough for you? The Cats crash the net with Sam Bullis. 2 Bees for company and a referee. Kicked out the pile. Sayers. Met by 2 Bees in Rose and Kelly. Rose tries to chip it ahead, finds Josh Smith. Gets the blue line. Jamie Smith is there to bat it down. Cats over the blue line again. That shot off the blocker of Wright. Bounces all the way back out to the blue line. Shot from no man's land. Kicked aside by Wright. Cathcart clears. Thankfully only the one Cathcart this evening as Johnson snaps that shot into the glove of Wright, and just as Todden complains it's only been 1 shot, 3 quick ones on Max Wright's net.
Yeah, solid there from Wright. A better shift for the Wildcats, actually getting some zone time in the offensive zone. They've kind of had the puck in their own end a bit so far tonight. That's the first real foray into the B zone, and yeah, create a couple of early chances and a couple of quick early saves from right.
Face off left of right, one by the Wildcats, down low to Bricknell. Attempted pass back to Jones, is tipped out of the zone by Balaz. Played ahead by the Cats. Mitchell stops that rush and lets Antonov go the other way. Antonov and Balaz. Balaz tries to spin off his D-man. Bouncing puck in the slot, and Cats clean up. And come the other way, and that one is offside. Bradley tried to wait for Glenn Billing. Should be the other way around. Billing failing on that occasion. Just under 2.5 gone here in the first. Neutral zone face-off is won by Balaz. Nog chips ahead. Antonov not able to get there. Played ahead to Nell. He'll spin and go back. Carried over the blue line by Wells, met by Mog. Nell fires down low. Puck is loose in front. Malasinski with 2 chances at it. Pulls it back to Ed Bradley, who smashes it into the back of the net. 2:57 gone, and the Cats take an early lead. Ed Bradley, his second of the season and his first back in the hang.
Well, Malasinski, you've called him the B killer before, and he's not got the goal on this occasion, but drives the net. Couple of good saves, to be fair, from right in tight, but the puck back out on the rebound, and nothing he could do with the shot as it pops into the top corner of the net for Bradley. But again, we said the Bees had to be compact and work hard, and I think just there, you can't give Thomas Malasinski the sort of space around the net. He's going to create problems, and
able to find the trailing man coming from the blue line. As the Bees only opening draw. Chipped ahead, immediately iced.
Yeah, for the Wildcats, it's a better opening, obviously, getting the early goal, and they've had some good zone time early here in this game, so that'll be a positive, I think, for them and Nell.
Bradley from Malasinski and Nell is the Cats' first goal. Plews down low, finds Billing. That one turned over by Shaw, goodbye from the back of the net, tries to find Will Stead, evades the poke checker Plews. Stead drops pass is to no one, Shaw picks up the loose puck, dispossessed by Rossbottom. Sorry, are you on WhatsApp updates tonight as well? Yeah. Did I forget that?
So the issue. I think the issue is Ben Callaghan can't actually see the goal from that position very well. So he did ask just to kind of confirm what happened for the updates.
Cats,
I'm on double duty here.
Double duty. You're still not getting paid.
No.
Goodbye.
No.
Over the blue line.
No one's paying for average work.
Fires the shot wide of Mars blocker. Cats will clear the zone. Wilson, up ice to Morris, tries to help it on its way. Cats quick to turn back the other way. Sayers loses out on that one. Erskine, puck finds its way to Wilson. Drops it off for Erskine into the corner now. Taken away by Johnson. Cats shipped on ahead. Bees keep it in the zone thanks to Mog. Cats quite happy to keep it behind the play. Probably hear it this week. We've actually got the drum reskinned. Making good use of it. Erskine shot on goal. Pushed away by Marr. That clearance kept in the blue line for a moment by Antonov. Bricknell does the work of getting it out of the zone. Antonov drops it off into free space.
Bit of a sloppy shift from both teams this so far.
It's not been the cleanest as the Bees keep it in. Hemmingsmesh fired towards goal. Blocked by Billing and cleared. Mog able to take it away from Bricknell. Tries to find Balaz. Doesn't. Finds the boards. Cats turn it over straight to Stuart Mogg at centre ice. Hilford into the corner. Icing called.
Yeah, it wasn't good hockey from either team, that really. It kind of started with a sloppy turnover from Sam Godfrey. Here's the chance. It's two very good saves by Wright initially in tight, but the puck worked back to Bradley, and he just fires home. No real chance for Wright to get back across his net for it.
Screened in front as well.
And a screen, and yeah, we know Ed Bradley can do that.
Cats win the draw. Britnell.
Yeah,
Poked away for a second there by Antonov, tries to find Jones and does, bats it down for himself. Ballas collects the loose puck. Leaves it for Antonov. Antonov wheels around the face-off dot, poked away and out of the zone. That'll fall nicely for Mitchell. And Morris will carry it back over as the Bees change. Morris just pushes out into the corner. That one is one of the more obvious icing calls you'll see this evening. Come all the way back.
Yeah, the Bees are kind of putting themselves under a bit of pressure here. Just they're not getting any real quality possession of the puck, and there's been a few loose passes and turnovers, and the Wildcats are just kind of pinning them back a little bit at the moment, which, you know, is going to be, it's not what you really want on home ice early in the game.
Now wins the draw. Malasinski fired from the goal line because he goes to the tip, but it only goes the opposite way from where he wanted. Morris takes the hit from Pecosdi. Held up in the corner. Rossbottom trying to shuffle it up the boards, for lack of a better term. Finally breaks away from the wall, falls to Wilstead. 3-on-3 for about 0.5 of a second. Rossbottom just turns, fires it off the boards, and it's another wasteful pass from the Bees.
Again, you had Pecosdi and Morris tied up there, so there was an opportunity with some space on that wing, and a bit of maybe a lack of composure there from Adam Rossbottom. He had more time, I think, on the puck than he realised, and they're just firing the puck up the zone, and the Wildcats now get a change, and you've got a fresh line out against a Bees line that's been out for a while.
Yes, the whole point of dump and chase is you're inevitably meant to chase it. The Bees win the draw. Rossbottom holds offshore, finds Wilstead, he loses out at centre ice. Cross ice pass picked off by Gabai, and that will let someone, well, the forwards get a change in anyway. That pass is wayward, and that'll fall nicely to right, backhanded off the boards by Morris. Seemed to come off the door down here at the Zamboni end.
Yeah, it wasn't,
bounce back towards
like
right.
I say, a bit of an unlucky bounce on the pass, and Wright alert to it with Josh Shaw kind of sniffing around in front of the net there. Again, the Bees are going to get the change this time, but they've now, through another slightly unforced error, got another defensive zone face-off to contend with against this Wildcats unit.
Face-off to right. Won by the Bees. Cathcart.
You're going to say that a lot this year, aren't you?
Yes. Kelly gets dispossessed by James Irons. Luckily, nothing too damaging done there as he takes it away from Lipsy and plays it up the wall. That one too far out of the reach of Josh Smith, and it's another icing call. 7.5 minutes gone here, and it's...
Yeah, other than that kind of early shift with the shot off the shoulder of Marr, the Bees haven't really had any zone time to make of any kind of real kind of substance yet. So I think Zion's just making sure they get the right players on the ice after the icing.
Obviously, I think the Bees getting warned for that one particularly because of the icing call.
Yeah, I think there's just a...
You usually get the one.
A discussion, yeah, I mean, just a discussion of who was meant to be on, who was meant to be off there.
Someone for the Bees is off the bench and walking back to the changing room.
It is Adam Rossbottom, I believe. There is a 2 on the number. Oh, it's not. It's not.
No.
I saw a 2. It's actually Ty Cathcart, I think.
That shot saved by Wright.
Hallam Wilson. There you go. There was a 2 on his jersey. I'm not going mad.
Nope, Hallam Wilson is the one heading back to the changing room.
Yeah, there was a 2 on the jersey. I think maybe that was why the confusion on the line change was.
You don't have to. Yeah, for an injury.
For an injury, yeah. rather than just trying to get a change in on the icing.
We will keep you posted if anything changes there, if Hallam rejoins the game. Cathcart behind the goal.
Yeah, I saw the 2.
You're not going mad, don't worry.
I don't know.
Rose, make sure to get it out the B zone. Cats dump it in. Kelly first to it, helps it round the boards. Tipped ahead by Josh Smith, then guess what? It's not going to be icing.
Yeah,
that one is deemed to have been playable.
Yeah, I think Reed says was close enough on that tip that they've washed that one off.
That feels generous as the Cats come the other way once again. Sayers can't get there ahead of Nags. Mogg to Antonov. Cross ice attempt to Hemmings-Mayer. That one only finds Ed Bradley, who blows a tyre. Coughs it up to Antonov. Backhand passes to no one in a yellow shirt. Bricknell will take it the other way for the Cats. Little stop and going move. Creates a bit of space for Ryan Wells. Wells fire towards goal. Deflection in front. Big save, Max Wright again.
Yeah, that's a big stop by Wright. Glenn Billing in the kind of zone where he scored a lot of his goals, actually. Glenn Billing in front of the net there. Nice play by Wells just to get the puck in front. Takes a deflection. Wright reacts quickly to it with, like I say, Billing sniffing around at the top of the crease, looking for the loose puck.
Saying Wright's right a lot. Big save Wright could be another thing that I keep saying this year. Billing tries to kick that one ahead, met by Morris. Back up to the blue line. Wells down low. Tries to find Bricknell. Puck bounces away from him. Bees once again not able to really get any sort of control at the moment. Jones is allowed freely to get the puck behind the goal. Fired from the outside hash marks. Is stopped by Bricknell. He fashions a shot, nothing really on it, and Wright covers up.
Yeah, no real clear chance for the Wildcats on that shift, but a bit too much, I think, space and just a bit too much just kind of being allowed to work the puck around the zone. At the end of the day, they did manage to get tight on Bricknell and stop him from getting a decent shot off there, but, you know, I think for the Bees, you want to be getting the puck out of the zone more.
Face off won by Goodbye, but the Cats jump on it. Bebrus shot from the blue line is blocked in front, bounces back up to the Latvian, finds Plews, Pekosdi. Back up to Plews. Bebrus through traffic off the skate of Malasinski and into the corner. Mogg gets ahead of Pekosdi and is able to take it over the red line and just chip it ahead. We'll probably let the Bees breathe for a minute. Oh, it's coming back the other way, and that lasted long. And that one off the skate of Nell. Offside is called. Unfortunate bounce there for the Cats player coach.
Yeah, just bounced off the skate and got ahead of Aaron Nell there. But yeah, the respite of getting the puck out the zone was short-lived, and it's difficult. It's difficult to be playing this long and this much hockey in your own end. If nothing else, it's going to be tiring for the Bees to be constantly chasing the puck.
As Rossbottom chips it ahead, Godfrey is there. Finds Smith. Played ahead, Bullis drops it off for Johnson, no one there. Goodbye will set Erskine away, back to Goodbye, cuts inside. Chance in front, saved by Marr, rebound again, save from Marr. Wraparound attempt finds Josh Kelly at the blue line, through traffic, tip in front, Marr goes the wrong way and the puck bounces to his left and wide of the goal. From absolutely nowhere, the Bees craft themselves a chance. Goodbye. Back up to Kelly. Through traffic again, tip in front wide of the net this time. Cathcart tries to pinch down low. Rossbottom. Stead. Drops it off for Goodbye. He's scorted away from the puck. And that one comes off a glove on the Cats bench. That face-off will stay inside. 8:58 to go in the first.
Well, a much better shift there for the Bees. They created a couple of chances. Rennie Mars actually had to make a couple of kind of bigger shaves there, and the Wildcats for the first time were just caught kind of chasing the puck there. It kind of came from nowhere as well. Goodbye just found a bit of space and got inside, and it just caused a little bit of chaos in the zone. And that's what the Bees are going to have to do more of if they want to get something, if they want to get the goal to get themselves back into this game.
Balaz wins the draw. Antonov back to the blue line. Mogg winds up, fires. blocked from the first man in front.
Lipsy, I think
Lipsy did seem to catch him somewhere a bit uncomfortable. Hannah Wilson just heading back to the bench now for the Bees as the Cats ice that one. On that Bees chance, the reason it seemed to break down was they seemed to lose Dom goodbye for a second as well. And it's weird, it seemed to be they sort of dropped into this zone defence and protect the house, which is something Aaron Nell is obviously quite big on.
Yeah.
But you do have to make sure you pick up the main target on the top line.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was just a momentary breakdown, as you say. You can't, you've got Balaz and Gabai, and they're the two guys that you really have to key in on those lines. So
Bees in the draw again. Nog goes for a little skidder across the ice that time as it goes back to him off the pass from Antonov. Fakes the first shot, second shot off the blocker of Mar. Antonov finds Mog again. Can't get it past the first man. That will clear the blue line and the Bees have to check up.
Yeah, good work defensively there for Dylan Lipsy at the blue line to just poke the puck out the zone.
Nags leaves it for Balaz. Carries it over the blue line himself. Shot off the glove of Marl. Rebound loose in front. Erskine falls to Balaz. Scrappy as they come, but the Bees will take it. Marcel Balaz gets his third of the year, 11:54 time of the goal.
Well, you said the Bees had a better shift, and it's probably one that it's scrappy and it's bounced around a little bit. I think Mar potentially might have wanted to get that first shot in his glove. He kind of just knocked it down in front, and that's caused some trouble. Erskine's managed to get it back in front of the danger zone, and Balaz just tucked it away from a tight angle. And yeah, really, the Wildcats have had the most of the possession, most of the zone time in the period. But the Bees, the last couple of shifts have been really good, and they've got themselves back in the game now.
I believe that will be a first National League point for Adam Erskine. Bees win the draw. Morris off the boards. Played ahead. Icing waved off. Foot race to it. Stead beats Bebris. Back to Rossbottom. No one's picked up Goodbye again. He just sort of ghosted into that zone. And it's cleared this time. Goodbye into the zone. Finds his way round to Rossbottom. Balaz from Erskine. Like I said, Adam Erskine's first National League point. Someone get that boy a puck. Cats off the boards, tipped ahead, right out of his net to play it. Morris bounces away from Kelly. Able to charge the pass from Jones, and it will fall nicely for Josh Kelly in the foot race with Jake Bricknell. Kelly bundled down. No call for me, no call is the right call there.
Yep. Just
puck falls out to Wilson. Wilson shot saved by Marr. Rose turns, fires blocked by Bebris. That's it away. Bricknell over the blue line. That will go to no one. Rose wheels it round in his own zone. Tipped ahead by Smith. The Bees go for a change. 6.5 to go in the first. 1-1 game. Turnover in front. Smith with a chance. Saved by Marr.
Mistake from I think Tyler Plews there. Just left the puck behind.
Bebris able to kick that one away. Cats the opportunity to break. Malasinski at speed is going to turn the Bees inside out. Bouncing puck wide of the net, and more importantly wide of Aaron Nell's stick. Good work by the player coach, finds Pekozdi. Back to the blue line. Down low, Malasinski falling into a soft spot in the zone. Cats with it once again. Pekozdi back to Malasinski. Lovely mitts, back in front, an extra pass. And we say scrappy as you like, that one wins the award for scrappiness. Valent Pekozdi.
Yeah. Well, there were 2 or 3 opportunities for the Cats to get a shot off there. Eventually, Valent Pekozdi does, and he finds the back of the net. But
14:09 time.
I think there was an initial chance here for Pekozdi. Then there was a chance for Malazinski, and eventually it's just shoveled in the blue paint from Pekozdi. But yeah, as you say, it was a bit scrappy on that one.
Yes, if you like your pretty hockey goals, you came to the wrong stream this week.
That was not one for the aesthetics.
And I could say that to people who are watching it at home. Hi Andy, hi Mark. Cats win the draw. Immediately dispossessed Rossbottom. His pass is wayward. Cats able to clear. Mitchell finds Kelly. Pogosdi from Malasinski, the Cats' second goal, and takes Thomas Malasinski to 8 assists already this season. Bradley. The Cats will set something up. Bradley up the left-hand side, cuts through centre ice, throws it across the Bullis. Bullis fires the shot on goal, into the glove of Wright.
The Bees will be disappointed with that because they just kind of worked their way back into the game and they had the Wildcats under some pressure, but as you said, it actually came from losing Thomas Malasinski for that split, for that second, as you say, just let him get into that kind of soft zone in the centre of the ice, and he just kind of caused a bit of chaos. He's got him and Pogosdi have both got really good hands in tight, and they were able to work some space.
Cats win the draw thanks to Jones. Bricknell in front of the net. Billing tries to tip on in from next to the goalpost. Right, luckily there. Penalty coming.
It's going to be on, I don't know who it's on.
The Cats, by the looks of it.
I think it's Jake Bricknell for interference.
Yeah, Bricknell interference is a call 15:03. And just to say that, the reason we did stop and forget that one is the Bristol Pitbulls have won in Sheffield.
So first win of the season for the Bristol Pitbulls.
Just as I say that, I can look over Annika's shoulder and see the National League website. It's the Sheffield Steel Dogs 3, the Bristol Pitbulls 4. That's the final score. Solway 2, Hull 2 in the second. Romford 1, Peterborough 2 in the second. And Telford 1, Leeds 1 in the first.
So yeah, Bricknell for interference at
15:03.
Is the call on that.
Yep, the Bees on the power play this year, 2 for 11 so far, 18.18%. The Cats on the penalty kill. They've conceded 3 goals on 15 attempts, an 80% success rate so far. That's something I know Aaron Nell will be very unhappy with.
Yes, yeah.
Mogg from behind his own cage. Through centre ice, Nags can't get under control, and the Cats are able to clear, finds Nell. Cats did get a short-handed goal last night against the Sharks.
Yeah, it was this line as well that got it. Malasinski, I think it was Nell from Malasinski, I think.
Shock.
I know, heard that one a few times before.
And well, that power play lasted long, didn't it, everyone? Or has it?
No, I think it's called interference.
On the Bees.
On the Bees. Why they waited for the Wildcats to touch the puck, I'm not quite sure.
That's what threw me off.
I guess that was the first time the Bees actually had control, was flicking it out of that scramble, I guess is what they're calling.
So 15:43, and we'll go 4 on 4.
It's Dominic Gabai going into the box by the look of it.
Yep,
so
Dominic Gabai, 2 minutes for interference.
An input for each team in the penalty box.
4 on 4 for 1 minute and 20 seconds. Before a quick 40-second power play for the Cats. Cats win the draw. Bradley across to Wells. Lots of space for the Canadian to work with now. And then he immediately crosses up to Vanya Antonov. I'm a genius. Mogg over the blue line. Drops it off for Balaz. Winds up, fakes the first shot, goes to the second. That one's blocked. And the Cats will go the other way. 2 on 2. Over the line comes Ed Bradley. Dispossessed by a back-checking Balaz. And Antonov skates the other way. And that is a very late and odd penalty call. Holding is called on Marcel Balaz. 16-17 time of the penalty, only 4 on 3.
Well, yeah, it seemed a late call on that one. I think that's a slightly harsh penalty, if I'm completely honest, coming out of the zone, but the Wildcats will take it, and they'll get a extended power play here, particularly as their man is going to be the first out of the box.
If you had said interference, I could have seen a case for it. Holding feels a bit harsh, as
we're going to have to work out the maths on this one.
47 seconds of 4 on 3, then 40 seconds of 5 on 3.
Yeah.
Cats on a power play, 3 for 14 this year, 21.43%. Goals come from Eddie Beveris, Chris Jones and Aaron Nell. The Bees penalty kill has only given up 1 goal on 9 attempts so far, 88.89%. This is a big test. Back to Nell, off the post, off the glove of Wright and cleared by Mogg. Kills a few seconds and launches it the length of the ice into the glove of Rennie Moore. And he's forced to hold it as the clock runs a couple of seconds generously.
I was going to say, I would have held that one as well. If I know he had Ryan Wells coming round, but he also had Hallam Wilson right behind Ryan Wells.
3:25 to go in the first. 28 seconds, 4 on 3. And 1 minute and 8 of 5 on 3. Cats win the draw. It won't take long to get up the other end of the ice. Back battle. Puck just behind Chris Jones, who blows an edge, and Hallam Wilson just launches it up the length of the ice. Liam Morris frustrated with that one. That could have been a breakaway.
There would have been a 2-on-1 there for the Bees, but little bit of, again, a lack of composure from Hallam Wilson.
Back up to the blue line, across to Nell. Cats 5-on-3 for 40 seconds. Back to Nell, pinching down the angle. That one off the glove of right and wide. Little snick on that one. We could hear it from up here. Bricknell back to Nell from this left hash mark. The box closing in. That one's through the legs of Bricknell and wide. Foot race for the puck. Wilson and Wells. Wells will get there first. Morris will make sure he goes the long way round.
It's an unfortunate play there because the Wildcats had set that power play up nicely, but yeah, the pass from now just not quite in the right spot for Bricknell, who was looking for that one-time opportunity. Bricknell
drops it off for Malasinski. Bouncing puck. Bricknell fires that one through the crease, hoping for a deflection. Doesn't get it. Nell back to the blue line. Bebris back to Bricknell, down low. Bees back to 4 as that one comes off the skate of Malasinski. Nell through the slot. Bricknell fires one on the clapper. That one kept it at the blue line by Bebris. Malasinski from below the goal line. Back to Bebris. Fans on the first pass. That somehow manages to work out. Bricknell keeps it in the zone. Bebris back to Bricknell as everyone seems to forget where he is. Goodbye with the block shot this time. Bricknell keeps it in the zone. Nell spins back. That one's a wide of the Canadian, and that leaves the zone.
Yeah, not a bad power play for Swindon, but just a few loose passes at the key moments there that cost them maybe a couple of clearer chances. But
and a very good penalty kill.
A very good penalty kill from the Bees. Yeah, they kept their shape well and forced the Cats outside of the zone, or at least outside of the kind of high-scoring areas of the zone.
Cats will break the other way. Pecosdi tries to go through. Ollie Nags stands his man very well. Pecosdi chases after him for some reason there, not sure why. Plews. Back to Pecosdi, met by Will Stead. Down low, chance. That one is saved by Wright. Glenn Billing able to snap a little shot on goal, and it's off the skate of Wright and thankfully covered up. 1:04 to go in the first. Everyone take a breath.
Yeah, I was going to say, back to 5-on-5 hockey now, and yeah, I think a good penalty kill there for the Bees. They kept their discipline well. The Wildcats moved the puck quite well, but yeah, like I say, a few loose passes and some good sticks in the lane did the job there as we reset the face-off.
Face-off to the right of Max Wright, as they have to come up with various ways of saying it throughout the year. Cats win the draw. That shot fired wide as they enter the final minute of the first period. Bricknell towards goal, finds Billing. All the way back into the blue line. Bebris will go for a deflection, no one there. Plews, down low, finds Jones. Balaz meets him in the corner. Creates a turnover as the Bees seem to load up the top line for one last go at the end of the period here. Rossbottom can't get up to the puck ahead of Godfrey. And that one will be iced.
Just about, I think Liam Morris on that far side, just about beating Chris Jones in the foot race. Jones did well to get around Mogg actually in that play and almost wave off, get the icing waved off.
31.5 seconds left. The Bees definitely loading up this line for one last go. Balaz, goodbye, and Antonov all out.
Might as well at this point in the period. Why
then
not?
Immediately lose the face-off.
As I say, you might as well try it in this point in the period.
Cats able to bring it away. Following the icicle. Little drop pass for Bricknell. Works away around one. Mogg plays the hit and loses footing. Morris fires it over to Balaz. Can't find goodbye. Cats able to have one last go at it. Shot from Wells pushed aside by Wright. Bricknell will not be able to get a shot away, and neither will Vanya Antonov, and that will see out the first period. A first period that could best be described as scrappy with occasional bouts of actual ice hockey.
Yeah, it's been a scrappy period. There's been some loose play, but yeah, that's kind of what you're going to get sometimes, I think.
Well, the Bees got themselves back on the board with Marcel Balaz either side of Cats' goals from Balint Pecosdi, and I can't even remember who scored the first. That's always good for me. Ed Bradley.
Yeah, no, like I say, it has been scrappy. I think It's probably about fair, the scoreline. I think the Wildcats, particularly the first 10 minutes, had a lot of zone time, which they maybe didn't make use of. But the Bees have continued to battle, and they've kept themselves in this game. So, you know, they managed that kind of poor spell well, and will have some confidence, I think, particularly after last night. They'll have some confidence that they can stick with teams in these sort of games.
After 20 minutes, it's 2-1 to the Wildcats here in the hangar. We'll be back with you in about 15 minutes' time. Welcome back to the hangars. The second period is soon to be underway. The score here, the Berkshire Bees 1, the Swindon Wildcats 2. Elsewhere, it finished the Sheffield Steel Dogs 3, the Bristol Pitbulls 5, the first win of the season for the Pitbulls. It is the Solway Sharks 2, Hull Seahawks 2 in the second period. Romford Raiders 1, Peterborough Phantoms 2 in the second period. And Telford Tigers 1, Leeds Knights 2. Scores elsewhere in the league.
2-1 is a popular scoreline at the moment.
Yes.
Clearly, in the games that are currently going on.
It's all 2-1 and 1-5-3. Yes, worse jokes are available.
No comment.
Yep, stats of the first period, there were 13 shots on Max Wright's goal and 11 on Rennie Marr in the Wildcats net. And the goals, Bees, obviously Marcel Balaz scoring from a tight angle, I think we can say, either side of Ed Bradley and Balint Pakosdi for the Wildcats.
Yep. Yeah, I think we said it. It's a scrappy period with some scrappy goals. But yeah, I think for the Bees, they'll want more zone time. I think that'll be the message at the moment. You know, they had 5 really good minutes where they got that goal and they had some pressure.
And in the very next shift gave us
then gave up a goal, which is unfortunate for them. But yeah, I think they'll want more zone time. Obviously, I think the Wildcats really played the majority of the first 10 and the last 5 in the zone, obviously aided by the power play, to be fair, at the end of the period. But yeah, so the Bees, it'll be zone time. I think for the Wildcats, it'll just be tidy up the little mistakes, because they've largely controlled possession. They've largely controlled the zone. But the little mistakes, the little turnovers are costing them at the moment, and just giving the Bees that look and that opportunity to get back into the game.
Both teams have been somewhat bizarrely guilty of the same mistake at times, of the 3 forwards obviously trying to stick as a unit, maybe going a bit too high chasing the puck, and the 2 D-men sat back a little too far, creating little pockets of space.
Yeah.
And when you get players like a Dom Gabai, a Marcel Balaz, Thomas Malasinski, and Aaron Nell, they are good enough to find these little pockets of space, and you give them an inch, they're quite happily going to take a mile.
Yeah, exactly. You can't give the top guys as much space as they've been given in that first period, because it is just going to cause problems for both teams, and we've seen that so far. All the goals pretty much have come from just standing off atop one of the imports. Malasinski in 2 occasions, and Balaj and Gabai for the other one. So.
As referee Andrew Jarvie calls them in for the second period of tonight's game here. This one just National League tonight, I believe, he says, looking at his notes. He's written National League on one and Cup on the other one, because he's a genius. I think it's National League, because I think the game on last Friday...
I think it was the Friday night one, was the cup game between these two.
As the Cats win the draw for the second period.
Yeah, the cup format's different this year, isn't it? There's only one
game home or away for 10.
Yeah.
Not sure why, but hey.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But
Hemmings Mayor, that's a balance.
That's maybe an element, finishing it earlier.
Possibly.
Knowing what the situation is earlier. Obviously last year, particularly with the Link Centre situation, we didn't really know until pretty much January who was qualifying.
Yeah, and the final wasn't played until just before the playoffs started.
Yeah.
So the Cats go offside on that one. Yeah, ideally on the semi-finals before this side of Christmas, and in the final the other side.
Yeah, kind of January or February. February time was a nice time for the final, I think, early February. I think obviously last year it was kind of exasperated by the Link Centre situation, the fact the Cats were making up games in the middle of December, which
all your fault.
Yeah, but even then there were still games for other teams being played in the Cup in early December, which is too late really.
I think our Romford games around Boxing Day counted as offside called there, I believe. There's no penalty being called.
No,
So.
I think it's a hand,
But there are
I
conversations being
think
had.
it was a hand pass. I think it was a hand pass.
Between Balint Pekosdi and, I can't quite see who that is, I think it's Liam Morris.
Of
course it's Liam Morris.
Yeah, just. And that's two players who don't mind a little chat, let's say that way.
Yeah.
They both like to talk.
One of them tends to get himself in a bit more trouble than the other.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, it's not the one you'd think. Cats win the draw, Plews over the blue line. Malasinski down low. Trying to fire it back up to Nell. That bounces away from him and out the zone. Bebris. First the loose puck. Chips on head, Malasinski. Stopped by Morris. That puck's going to catch the pole up high. He's okay. Morris goes to the low bridge on Pekosdi and a quite angry slash. So something's clearly gone on there. Doesn't usually react like that. Bees play it ahead. Goodbye. Tries to get round Plews. Elbow on the way past. Catch Plews on the jaw. He is okay. Stead spins away from Bebris. Can't get back to the puck though. Plews pushes ahead only as far as Rossbottom. Morris finds Rossbottom. Bit of space. On a shot off the side of the goal. Collects his own rebound. Tries to find Stead in a low slot. Instead finds Malasinski as Goodbye goes low. Because the other way. 3-on-3. Drops it off for Malasinski. Moves away round one. Trying to find Nell back door. Big save right again.
It's an important save by Max right there. Aaron Nell in a lot of space there. Far too much space for Aaron Nell, really, from a Bees perspective.
Touch it head by Rossbottom. Goodbye beats Godfrey, but then there's two Cats of company and no one in yellow. Malasinski tries to get it away from Wilson. Goodbye loses an edge. Sticks getting in the way. Johnson, the culprit, shall we say. Godfrey dumps it in on goal. Wright pushes it aside. Bees from behind their own net. Cathcart. With, I mean, the Bees have a case there. The pass, there was a definite stick lift there preventing the icing call. So the Bees definitely have a case, but
I think they're going to have a quick chat.
They're going to have a chat
we're
about
going
it.
to go. It looks like we're going to go. I think they are just going to have a quick chat. I think that you said it is potentially a case. I think it was Johnson just kind of lifted the stick as the puck was coming towards Ty Cathcart.
Off Cathcart's stick. This is a very elongated chat for an icing call.
Are we going centre?
I think we are going centre.
Yep. I think that's about. And after all that, the Bees don't actually want to change anyway, so it's just the position of the face-off that
they just feel aggrieved.
I think it's obviously it is better not to have a defensive zone face-off in this scenario.
I think it's a case of the Cats didn't move either, because it's line 3 against line 3 at the moment. As Johnson wins the draw, Rose takes it away from him.
Yeah, he's trying to get obviously the Bees have the last change, so trying to get those matchups you want.
Stretch pass only finds Kelly. That one would have been offside, and that one will be icing, and there's no point of contention, so all of that was for nothing. And now the Cats will change, and all of that good work is undone.
Yep, so the Wildcats will get their top.
Yep, they'll roll out
unit.
Bricknell, Billing, and Jones.
Yeah, with Bradley and Wells coming in on D.
Oh, goody. He's off to the right of Max Wright. Cats win the draw. Scramble on the face-off dot. B's able to get away with it for a second there from Rose. Billing. Carries it around the net. Back up to Bradley. Across to Wells. That pass takes a deflection. B's will try and clear. Pass finds way over to Rose, who, sorry, for Wilson even. More scrappy passes coming into play here. Billing skates along the blue line, right out of his net to play it. Fires it around the boards. Wilson gets met by Bradley just as the puck gets there. Waited his time to play the hit and played it perfectly. Bricknell over the blue line, up the right-hand side towards goal. Bradley leaves it for Bricknell. Wheels around, works his way through a gap. Good poke check there by the two Bees players who close it together. And that one comes off of I'm not entirely sure what his pipe work, I'm going to say.
Yeah,
Up here.
possibly the one of the lights.
I think it was this bit, the bit just before the lights. You can't quite see off the camera.
Yeah, it's hard to see from where we are. It's come off part of the building that isn't an ice rink.
One of the illegal bits.
Yeah. So the face-off stays in the zone.
One by the Bees and Marcel Balaz. Antonov. The Bees try and clear. Balaz chips ahead. Blues tries to play it. Icing called on that one.
Really?
Yeah. Marcel Balaz is he's been frustrated with a few things tonight. That's another one on the list for him.
Oh.
Confused Tom Graham noises.
Well, in my mind that came off a Cats defenseman, but there we go.
Cats win the draw. Bebris. Down low. Good work from Malasinski. Kicked back towards the Bees. Antonov at the blue line. Tries to drop it off for Balaz. Met by Bebris. Nags. Malasinski runs over Hemmings-Mayer there.
It's a bit of a difference in size.
Yes. Balaz spins away from Plews, drops it off to Mog. Balaz shot is over the bar. Malasinski is there first. Antonov trying with the stick lift. Fortunately, there's a bit of a difference in stick length there between the two. Balaz calling for a change here, and the Cats will take advantage on the odd man rush. Pass tries to go back to Malasinski. Instead, deflection takes it to Bebris. Played into the corner. Malasinski. There's some more behind the play stuff going on. The Bees have a chance to break. It's Adam Rossbottom. Adam Rossbottom with a chance. Holds off the defender. Rossbottom shot. Big save for Eddie Marr.
Yeah, it's a good save from Marr. Good move from Rossbottom. Just trying to pull Marr across, but he stays big and makes a save. I think, as you say, potentially a little bit of a distraction from the Cats behind the play. I think it was... I can't remember. It was behind the play. It was, I think, Bebris and Mitchell kind of getting to know each other a little bit, and it just pulled the Cats out of position slightly. Good breakout.
Bees win the draw. Shot through traffic, bounces off the boards wide. Bradley able to clear, kept in at the blue line by Rossbottom. Rossbottom fashions himself another chance. That comes off the stick of Wells and high up into the netting. Break and play as that one in the net means, well, I was going to say both teams changed, but the Bees definitely changed. Cats don't.
Cats stick with the, I think the line that's...
The third line unit with their second line D pairing. One by the Bees and Dan Rose. Wilson escorted out the club by Ryan Wells. Cathcart can just spin and fire it into the zone. No icing as he was this side of centre ice. Bradley is going to take it on an adventure right to left. Easily cruises past Liam Morris. Coming together, everyone fall down. Shot from the face-off dot is wide. Kept in the blue line by Johnson. Bullis, shot off the side of the cage. Bradley. Met in the corner, loses a stick in the process. Puck bounces to Kelly. Glove down at the blue line by Wells.
I could say that. I guess it must have been a hand pass, given it popped into the stick of the other Wildcat in the area. I think it was Bullis.
I always feel those ones are a bit harsh when it's I'm jumping up to keep it in the zone and batting it down.
I was going to say, it wasn't an intention to get it to Bullis. No. He was trying to knock it down for himself, and it's just hit Bullis on the stick. But yeah, it is a hand pass, and we'll go outside the zone for the face-off.
It just feels harsh. Yeah. Cats win the draw. The puck bounces towards the Bees. Jones takes it away from Balaz. Finds Billing. Jones gets hit by Ollie Hemmings-Mayer. Smith. 5 down low to Bricknell. Good work from the Bees there. It separates him from the puck. And they will just about clear the zone. And the Bees have a chance on the break the other way. Puck across to Ollie Nags. loose in the slot, more bundled down. Renimar has come together with Balaz, and Glenn Billing is going to play interference and keep him in the net. Cats the other way, Balaz is allowed up, no harm done between the two players. Everyone comes home happy, and puck finds his way back to Balaz. Steps inside Jamie Smith, drops it off for Mogg. Down low, Will Stead. Stead to the front of that, off the shoulder of Mara and wide. Smith on clean-up duty, leaves it for Billing. Balaz. Stead. Back up to the blue line. Fired across to Mitchell. He'll have a shot, that's blocked by Jones. Bounces nicely to Balaz. Spins away from Billing again. Can't get away from Smith. Still with the puck as Billing tries to clear. Kept in the blue line by Mitchell. Puck bounces nicely to Antonov. Antonov in with a chance. Blocked by Godfrey. Balaz. Evaluates his options. Settles on Will Stead behind the goal. Back to the blue line. Antonov. Just wayward from Mitchell. Finds Balaz again. Mitchell, shot through traffic, takes a deflection just over the net. Morris tries to go down low, that one blocked by Smith. Stead goes for the hit on the young D-man, creates a turnover, Goodbye in front. Goodbye through, a pointless shot is stopped, blocked by Chris Jones, and the Bees will have to check back. And offside there as Will Stead does not get back over the blue line fast enough, and that will see both teams change.
Yeah, it's a long shift there for the Wildcats, but they did well to keep their shape. We'll just see there.
Yeah, so that's where the bounce in.
Yeah, they bounce into each other. I think I was about to say it was a really good play actually before that from Jamie Smith as well to tie up the stick of, I think it was Antonov coming in on the break.
I will say this as well, so Godfrey with the bump on Balaz, which causes it.
Yeah.
I was going to say Glenn Billing running interference. If anything, he's probably stopping Marcel Balaz from getting his head smashed
yeah,
by someone
it worked,
for then touching the
goal. I was
goalie.
going to say, I think everyone got away out of that without.
Don't touch the goalie.
Damage, yeah.
Oh no, he didn't do anything. Let's not kill him.
Yeah, it was all good.
Mark perfectly okay. Plays that shot from centre ice behind the goal. Bebris. Up the right hand side. Plews. Tries to go back to Bebris. Pekosdi, freedom of the left hand side. Drops off for Malasinski. There's Goodbye for company. Rides one check. Still with the puck. Thomas Malasinski back to Aaron now. He's going to wind up fire through traffic. No, he's going to try and find Malasinski down low. Goodbye, able to create the turnover. The puck doesn't bounce too kindly for the Bees, and it's back on the stick of Malasinski again. Bebris on the blue line. Shot through traffic, stick to side by Wright. Plews tries to shovel one in short side. Pekosdi, first level loose puck. This is all the way around to Nell. Plews. Dumps it down low. Pekosdi. From behind the net. Goes back to Malasinski. Bounces over his stick and over the blue line. Pekosdi loses the handle on that one. Goodbye gets dispossessed by a falling Aaron Nell. So look at Aaron Nell. Did he Bebris even?
Yeah.
I just saw a one. I did the same thing you did earlier.
Yeah, it's easy to do. You just assume it's probably going to be Aaron Nell in that position.
Yeah, forward, yeah.
On that, with that line out on the ice.
Puck ahead finds Liam Morris. He is taken down by Tyler Plews. And it was Dan Rose. I should have stuck with my guns. Cats the other way. Shaw finds Lipsy. Turned over. Rose. Feeds the left-hand side, little give and go. Not quite able to get on the end of that one as the Cats all back on defence. Wells, fired cross ice. Lucky bounce gets out of Josh Shaw. Steps inside one, gets stood up by Josh Smith. Lipsy following in. Finds Johnson. Loses out. Shot from, I think it's Ed Bradley there, turns and fires that one blocked in front. 9 minutes to go in the second period. Still a 2-1 game, despite the best efforts of both teams in this period. As it's held in the corner. Beans finally come away with it. Eskin tips that one ahead. Icing is waved off on that one. Bradley deemed able to play it. Johnson with a, I'm going to be generous and say Spinorama, finds Bricknell. That one pushed all the way out to the blue line. Godfrey. Down low to Johnson. Godfrey, freedom of the right-hand side of the ice. Tries to find Bricknell. Bricknell turns, fires. That one's over the glove of right and wide. Kept into an interesting part of the zone there thanks to the bench door, well, the doors down in the corner. Bees the other way. That pass not quite near Ollie Hemmings-Mayer. Godfrey. Smith. Bricknell. Room to work as he tries to find Billing. Mitchell will escort him behind the net and away from danger. And the Bees with a chance to break. Balaz is immediately stopped by Chris Jones. The puck takes a gentle roll down to Sam Godfrey. Long stretch pass to Bricknell. That one goes into the corner. Cats able to change. Morris collects. Launches that one up ice. Played ahead. Will Stead crashes the net. Rennie Molly. Oh, well, Stead loses the handle and it just sort of trickles its way through the blue paint and out the other side. No danger there for the Cats netminder. Well, now. That one launched up ice. Morris plays it. No icing call despite the linesman signalling it. Back to Plews. Malasinski winds up, fires. That one is way off radar. Pekosdi. Back to Malasinski. Closed off by two Bees. Rossbottom turns and fires. And there's a chance here for a moment. Marad doesn't let the play it. His goodbye closed in at the speed of, well, not very fast. Pekosdi.
End of his shift.
Yes, end of a very long shift.
We'll give him benefit of doubt on that one.
Bees clear again. Marr calling for an icing. That's going to get waved off. Plews is there for it. Met by Dan Rose. Another wayward pass picked up by Wilson. Morris. Let the Bees set up. Pass probably taken away from Erskine there. Bees still with it, fanned on that time, and now the Cats break the other way. Sayers at the right-hand side. Moves away from Mogg. Lap of the goal, saved by Wright. Rebound picked up, is also saved by Wright. Bebris, down low, loses possession. Bees can't clear. Johnson from a obscene angle. Saved by Wright. And that pass is, again, not to take. Bradley turns, fires. Who was picking up Reed Sayers? No one. Cats in on the chance. That one not again to a stick, and the Bees break the other way. Balaz snaps a shot. That one's in a sea of legs. Johnson turns and fires away. Bricknell, one man to beat, drops off Chris Jones. No one there to help him out as Stuart Mogg takes the puck away from him. It all starts to break down. Hemmings-Mayer with a bad pass. Finds Bricknell. Back to Jones. He winds up, fires. Blocked in front. Rebound. Save right. Bees will clear. Kept in by Wells and the stretch pass from Antonov. Antonov dispossessed by Bricknell. And the clearance only finds Wells at the blue line. Bradley steps inside Hemmings-Mayer beautifully, shot through traffic, placed and tip in front from Billing. If anything, just blocked the shot. Jones comes high to collect the puck. Bradley creates a little bit of space. Gets round one at the goal line, goes to the wraparound chance. No, back to Wells. Bricknell drops it off for Wells. Plews off the bench. Snaps a shot, blocked in front by Kelly. Back to Plews. Cross-ice pass finds Wells. In front, that falls to Jones. Saved by Wright! How has he got that? I don't think Jones got too great a contact on it.
No, I don't
But
think
Max Wright pulls off the save. 3:48 to go. And I can stop talking.
no, I don't think the it's not the contact. It just rolls on Jones a little bit. It's not the contact you want, but it's still a really good save from Wright. Jones gets the puck up in the air, and Wright just sliding across and making the save, kind of getting it down into his glove. But a much better spell of zone time for Swindon there. I think they've been guilty this period of maybe trying to force the play they want to be there, not the play that's actually there. And that time, they kept the puck moving and they were patient, a lot more patient, just keeping the puck on the outside and waiting for their opportunity to get into the slot.
3:48 to go in the second, and this one's coming back for a face-off warning.
Yeah, it's a warning on Swindon. But yeah, I think what Swindon have struggled with this period is like I said, they've been forcing the puck into the space where they want the player to be, not necessarily where the player is, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And it's kind of caused passes that are loose
be
out
here.
the zone. Yeah, exactly.
Cats crash the net. Bees able to create the turnover. Plew stands his man up. Both collide. Him and it's Olstead, I believe. Malasinski finds Aaron Nell lurking on the blue line. Brilliant back check there and stop him on the break. Berbris across goal. Malasinski can't get the shot away. Bees break the other way. Goodbye. He's going to go towards the front of the net, tries to fashion a shot on goal, and Dom Goodbye sneaks one under the pad of Rennie Marr to tie the game up. 36-47, Dom Goodbye's second of the year.
It comes on, obviously a shot that doesn't go well for the Cats, but Goodbye, great strength to hold off the defenseman. It just sneaks through the 5-hole on Marr. Again, you'd say he probably should get it, but it's also good work from Goodbye to hold on. I think there's a discussion going on. I don't know what you could potentially call here. There was nothing in there for me.
Unless we're going back to maybe behind the play at the very start. We're basically bordering on VAR levels
I feel like
going back.
I certainly didn't see anything in that. I feel like you've got to give this one, personally, but
this is going to be very hard.
Unless there's something I just completely miss. I think they're having a chat anyway, but
I think
it looks like they're going to centre ice, so...
You're kind of hoping this is a case of, look, there's a few things going on behind, we're aware of it, stop it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, I get it, it's fine, but please, can you at least just point for the goal first?
I think there's a bit of a chat going on anyway still, but
we can't see anything in the goal. That seems fine.
Yeah.
I think there is a... so here we go. So there was a call for a high stick. I don't know if... I don't know if Nick can wind it all the way back to behind the goal. That might be too far. But it's obviously what they're calling for, the Cats are in particular. So, but I think obviously it does come back to the whole VAR argument of how far back do you go and still call it part of the same move.
Yeah.
It'll be way back at the other end of the ice, Nick, just to be really helpful.
I think Andrew Jarvie is probably quite rightly saying, if we've missed it, we've missed it. There's not a lot we can do. I think there was a bit of a shrug in the direction of the Cats bench of...
Nick is frantically going back to see if he can find anything.
I can't even see where the rink maintenance is being sent to. It's kind of centre ice. It looks like it's just on the blue line.
So that was it. If you wheel that back about 10 seconds. Yeah. So what it looks like happens is off the draw from before the goal. It's an accidental high stick. There's nothing malicious in it. It's Balint Pecosdy here on the left-hand side. And it's just when Nell gets picked, and now the goal's been taken off the board.
Okay.
This is going to be bizarre.
I'm very, very confused.
Genuinely, I am stunned with that. Obviously, we have the ability to go back via replay.
I suppose the only thing is whether maybe a linesman has seen it and has then advised the referee after the goal. But
what we need is a massive screen up so we can play replays and then you can get goals given that way. No goal is given, and Marcel Balaz is thrown in the penalty box.
Yeah, like I say,
Hang on. No, Adam Rossbottom, sorry. 2+2 for high sticks for Adam Rossbottom. Nick Wheelett.
which is, I guess, automatic for a high stick where there's blood on the ice. But I guess the only scenario here is potentially a linesman has advised what's happened, but I don't know.
Genuinely,
I don't know what to make of that.
I'm stunned. That is
Well, it's
bizarre.
controversial.
So it's 4 minutes of a man advantage for the Cats. And from the replay we've seen, it's harsh. Cats win the draw. Back to Wells. Nell. Cross goal, Bricknell saved by Wright and off the snaps the stick on the shot, and the Bees will launch it up ice. So the Cats essentially on the power play for the rest of the period unless there is a goal in the first 2 minutes. Or in the second for that matter. Malasinski up to Nell. Wells down low, Bricknell. Wells again as these two patrol the blue line. Wells shot fired across goal, cleared only as far as Bricknell does a good job of gloving it down. Bricknell through traffic, that takes a deflection and goes into the corner. Wells gets, I was about to say, Ryan Wells gets his stick samurai chopped out of his hands and snapped in half. That is the most obvious slashing call I'm going to see all year. It's going to be 5-on-3, 37-53, sorry,
well,
as I get my times mixed up.
Well, momentum is a funny thing in hockey, and
2 minutes for slashing on Liam Morris.
yeah,
I
mean, I don't think you can argue. There's no, as you said, there's no argument on that penalty call. No. I think there's probably an argument for the Bees that they shouldn't be in this position to start with. But yeah, there's no argument on that in the kind of grand scheme of things on that particular penalty call. It was pretty clear, as you say, it was almost a samurai chop from Liam Morris to knock Ryan Wells' stick away.
To be fair, I think if you pitched him one, that one's going yard.
Yeah. Well, a huge moment in the game now.
Well, it's another 5-on-3.
It's another 5-on-3.
Super slashing. The
Very
Bees fans
poor
obviously.
pass from Podolski, I think it was.
Bees into the zone. Balaz shot. Glove by Marr. I'm surprised that's not a penalty as well. Yes, I'm salty. Okay, deal with it. I'm allowed one.
You are.
I've got out of the system. Now we can go ahead.
I'll give you that.
Face off to the right of Marr. Five on three for the Cats. I'm trying to do math here as that shot is off the side of the cage by Goodbye. Everyone out of position as Ed Bradley chips it around Vanya Antonov. Mog is there to collect. And we'll just turn and fire it up ice. Marr out of his net to play it. 1:38 to go in the period. 23 seconds on the first of the Rossbottom Miners. Obviously, another 2 minutes immediately starts. So we are playing 5-on-3 for 2 minutes. This is going to be a massive kill.
Yeah.
I was trying to do the math in my head.
It's complicated with the particularly the clock doesn't show the full 4 minutes.
Bricknell to the front of the net. That one cleared out of the danger area there by Mog. Bricknell closing the gap down to Billing in front, and that is put in just before the first 2 minutes expires. The Cats extend the lead 38-47, and Glenn Billing's first goal of the season. Yeah,
well, we say that Glenn Billing does a lot of his work in this area, and it's just 5-on-3. It's obviously there's going to be space. Bricknell with the easy pass, and Billing just slides the puck home. Obviously not a popular goal.
as the Cats win the draw. Bradley. Back to Bricknell. Billing from Bricknell and Bradley is the third goal, or Glenn Bricknell has just been called by the announcer. Malasinski tries to go back across to Bricknell inside the final minute of the second period. Dare I say it, you're going to get a lot of booing in about 40 seconds time.
Yeah.
Bradley tries to go back to Malasinski, winds up fire, saved by Wright, rebound, loose in front, mad scramble, goal is pushed off.
Yeah,
that's going to be another penalty.
Well, you can't give the goal here, and I don't think they have to. Fair, that would be no signal from James Irons. The net was well off before the shot.
That should be another penalty though, because I'm going to say that was deliberate. Here's the replay of it, and good work, Wilstead.
Yeah, Wilstead does knock it off well before.
Wilstead takes one for the team.
Yeah, I think Thomas Malazinski was kind of suggesting that there was some intent on that one, but I think you let him off.
Little bit of intent.
I think you've got to give a little bit of leeway on that. Maybe a warning.
I imagine there will be. If it happens again, we could be in trouble.
Yeah.
Wells.
I think again, you probably get a warning on the first one in that scenario.
Yeah, sorry, Graham, if you're watching this on holiday. Hope Egypt's nice. Wells down low. Back through traffic, scramble in front, cleaned up by Balaz. He'll fire it around the boards. Just kept it at the blue line by Malasinski. Finds Wells, acres of space. Down low again. Back to Wells, winds up, fires, kick save right. And the Bees will clear. Bees back to 4.
Of course, back to 4. I was looking at the bottom penalty was the one that was expired. I was like really confused for a second.
We'll do it for the second period, and a second period that has all turned on one very interesting penalty call. A Bees goal washed out, a 4-minute penalty put on the clock, and the Cats score to make it 3-1. Tom, I was going to say that period was an entertaining 0-0 for the most part.
Yeah.
We've seen many periods over the years where it's been 0-0 and nothing has happened.
Yeah.
That was a very good period of hockey.
Yeah.
The last 4 minutes of it have somewhat ruined it.
Ruined it is one way of putting it. It's definitely added, obviously, talking points that maybe weren't necessary. We don't know this. It's hard to say, not knowing the full story of those conversations up here. But yeah, not quite the way that you want to see that period end. But yeah, I say it was an entertaining period for sure. There was good moments for both teams, good work from both teams, and yeah, I mean this is still a hockey game with 20 minutes to go. But you've got to feel that it's big now for the Bees to start this period well if they're going to get back into the game.
Well, the Cats will have 48 seconds of a man advantage to start the third period. We'll be back in about 15 minutes' time. It's Bees 1, Wildcats 3. Welcome back to the hangar for the third and possibly final period, as I quickly nick Annika's tablet so I can check the scores. It is the Solway Sharks 3, Hull Seahawks 3. That has gone to overtime.
I can just say Hull won that in the shootout.
Hull have won that in the shootout. Tom Graham at his finest. The Romford Raiders 4, Peterborough Phantoms 2. And it's the Telford Tigers 4, the Leeds Knights 4 in the second period. Romford Peterborough is in the third as it stands. Here it is 3-1 to the Wildcats. As the reason we were late is we've just had a military-esque examination of the highlight of the high stick call. Shots on goal, 17 on Max Wright, 6 on Rennie Marr. And also the goal coming from Glenn Billing on the power play. The Cats start 48 seconds at 5 on 4. They say the mood is a bit spicy amongst the fans is an understatement right now.
Yeah.
So I think Ashley Tate, who's also just got up here, has made a very good point. If you're going to call the penalty, surely you should have wound the clock back to when it happened.
Yeah, I mean,
which is a perfectly reasonable...
Yeah, it's a legitimate point. It's a completely legitimate point.
It's a perfectly reasonable point to make. As the Bees win the draw, like I say, 48 seconds on the penalty kill as Ollie Nags launches that one high into the bench.
I think I can't see you guys at the end of the bench, but he did very well to get out of the way of that one.
Ollie Nags is currently getting had out by his team.
I think it's Adam Erskine at the end of the bench did very well to get out the way of that clearance.
Is that not delay a game, though? Or is it
it was on the bench. It was below the level of the plexi, I think.
So that killed 8 seconds. Face off inside the Bees zone. One by the Wildcats. Bradley back high. Bradley, that pass only finds Ollie Nags. He will launch it the length of the ice. Marr out of his net to play it. 20 seconds remaining on the Ross bottom minor. Bradley shot from the goal line, blocked by Nags. Collected by Sayers. Back to Bradley. Round to Bebris. Bees return to full strength. Bradley towards the goal, kicked aside by Wright. Mogg tries to dump Bricknell off the puck. Good luck with that one. Turnover falls nicely to Nags. He will clear the zone. Almost. That takes the deflection off the skate of Rossbottom. Billing, shot on goal, saved by Wright, covers up the rebound. And Tom, goal aside, the Bees have been very good on penalty kill tonight.
Yeah, they have. Obviously, the goal coming in the 5-on-3, which, you know, it's one of the things they happen. But yeah, the Bees' penalty kill has been good. They've kept their shape. They've got their sticks in the lane well. And yeah, they've kept the Cats mostly out of the sort of high danger zone. You know, the shots have been coming from the outside and they haven't been able to get the traffic in front and pick up the rebounds.
Bees win the draw. Rossbottom. Gets in the blue line. Shot behind the goal. Bullis beats everyone to it. Nell. Tries to find Malasinski. That, I'm going to say attempted shot, will be generous, is one of the slightly more off-target ones you see from Malasinski. Goodbye. Finds Rossbottom. Freedom with the right-hand side to work with. Finds Goodbye. We'll say this is the Pecosley Nell Malasinski line. Pecosley is not out at the moment. Sam Bullis is on this top unit at the moment.
Pecosley was getting some
scramble in front.
Yeah, because he was getting looked at by the physio in the break.
Mitchell's shot takes a massive deflection, takes it from going on the right-hand side of Marr all the way into the far left-hand corner. Mitchell gloves one down, fires it behind goal. Cats play it up to Jones. Morris swinging a miss on it there. Not sure it was telegraphed enough there from Liam. Cats with it. Bradley. Down low, Bricknell with the tip, saved by Wright. Jones first to it, finds Wells. Wells at the blue line through traffic, saved by Bricknell. The Cats quite happy just to keep control of the puck and kill time, which is the aim of the game here now as Jones goes back to Wells. The all time that they have the puck, it doesn't matter where on the ice it is, as long as they have it under control. Wells, long stretch pass to Bricknell. Bouncing puck, Mogg pushes it into the corner, takes it away from Lipsy. Kelly's clearance kept in by Bebris. Bricknell dispossessed by Antonov. Antonov will lead the charge, finds Ballas. Ballas steps aside one, shot off the glove of Marr. Cathcart finds Mogg. Goes through centre ice, puck batters off the stick of Ballas, falls for please. Lipsy spins away from Cathcart, gets a shove for his troubles. Sayers, backdoor chance, saved by Wright. I'm not sure he knew much about that one. Ballas finds Worsted, who that's too many men call, and that one is not going to be called. There was at least 7 Bs on the ice there.
I'd say a little bit of generosity on that one, I feel.
Counting is hard.
Yeah, I suppose the only argument there is the Wildcats did play it into the players who were changing. I think you could potentially say that, you know, the Bees were kind of put in a bad spot there by the Wildcats, but equally, yeah, there was quite a few Bees on the ice.
Puck falls to Morris. Morris shot blocked by the first man in Sam Godfrey. Cats the other way. Bullis into the zone. He can pull off a highlight reel or two, can Sam Bullis. Shipped ahead by Rossbottom.
We were all in Basingstoke that night and we will never forget it.
Yes, season 15 as a Wildcat for Sam Bullis. Godfrey goes back. 15 minutes to go in the game as it stands, unless we go to overtime from here. Dumped in right out of his net to play. Smith is first to it, fired round the boards. Rossbottom can't beat Malasinski to it, but his pass is wayward. Mitchell chips up to Smith. The puck bounces nicely for Aaron Nell. Tip from Malasinski takes it wide of the goal. Godfrey tries to go down low. Goodbye. Helps it on its way, and that one is going to be coming straight back.
Yeah. The Wildcats are doing what they need to do at the moment. They're controlling the zone. They're keeping the clock moving. The Bees, they'll need, obviously, at some point to maybe twist and start upping the pressure and maybe adding extra players into the rush. But for now, if I were the Bees, I wouldn't necessarily panic, because your one goal can change the game. We saw that in Romford on Sunday, obviously, with the Wildcats. So equally, you've got to say for the Bees, they've got to score the next goal if they want something out of this game.
The Billings shot is blocked. Cats keep it in at the blue line. Jones down the Bricknell. It's met by Marcus Mitchell. Jones goes back high. Wells, Bradley. Back to Wells. Stick hands away past Rossbottom. Fires a shot. Blocked by Goodbye. Goodbye has decided he's going to try and do it himself as he weaves his way through basically the entire Cats lineup. Don Goodbye to the front of the net. Shot saved by Marr, and he will hold on, cover up. 13:51 to go, and almost a human highlight reel play by the coach.
Yeah, great move from Goodbye, just driving, as you say, taking it on, drives it out wide, gets a shot in, and Marr does well to hold on. There was a player following up as well. I think it was Hemmings Marr coming in. Yeah, but great. You know, we know that Goodbye can do that. You've got to be aware of him, and we said in the first period you can't give Goodbye and Balazs any too much space if you're the Swindon Wildcats.
No. Bees with the draw. Antonov's shot blocked. Cats the other way. Off the bar this time from Malasinski. He's getting closer. Pekosdi now back on the ice. Plews. Hemmings-Mayer. Take it up the right-hand side. Runs into the first wall. Pass across to Malasinski. Cuts inside. Finds Pekosdi. Backdoor chance. Malasinski can't kick it out from underneath his skates, and Bees go the other way. Hemmings-Mayer will try and flip it up to Balazs. Brilliantly brought down by the Slovak. Spins away from Bebris. And then gives him a shove for his troubles. Morg shot through traffic. Blocked. Marr pushes it behind the goal. Malasinski. Turns and fires. High stick claimed by the Bees. The fans obviously are going to go up for it. The Bees bench is obviously going to go up for it now. And no call. This is what happens.
Yeah.
Bebris. For what it's worth, I don't think it was really a high stick.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from up here, to be honest.
No.
We've not got the best angle on that sort of play.
Nell fired at the left hand wall to Sayers. Good work by linesman Chris Edwards to break that breakout up.
Excellent defensive play from Mr. Edwards there.
Stood his man up, did not let Sayers get past. You will not get a breakaway. Through centre ice, that one is going to be icing. Gives me enough time, 12:10 to go, gives you enough time to say in other Berkshire Bees related news, Kane Russell hat-trick tonight in South 1 for the Solent Devils against the Romford Buccaneers.
There you go. Excellent.
I figured I'd chuck that one in there.
Random South 1 news is always fun.
Hey, he's on a two-way now. Oh, there's your standard man fall over replay of the week. Face off to the right of Marr. One by the Bees. Goodbye. Snaps the shot. That one's off the blocker of Marr. And cleared up ice. Icing called. We'll go all the way back. I'm going to be honest here. The Bees are very much going for the snitching opportunity of going, he's jumped off the bench.
Yeah. To be fair, there wasn't much subtlety in that one from the Wildcats. I think Mr. Puller and Mr. Ryans both saw that clear as day. Yeah, there wasn't an awful lot of subtlety on that attempt.
The Bees have scrapped the lines and they've just loaded the one line up. Balazs, Goodbye, Antonov.
Well, I did say a few minutes ago that maybe you've got to try this at some point, and off an icing is always a good time to do it.
Nags keeps that in the blue line. Kept in by Godfrey. Antonov held up in the corner. Nags loses out on the puck. Shaw tries to bring it away. Nags pinned to the boards by Lipsy at centre ice. And the Cats will able to get a change in. Mogg, Shaw for company. Goodbye. Stopped by Jones. Jones, lovely mitts there from the Welshman. Fired up to Wells, who can't quite glove that one down straight away. Billing helps it along the boards to Bricknell. Finds Jones again. Antonov with good work to get it away from him. Goodbye. Goes back to Vanya. Drop pass. Billing wipes Goodbye out. I think you could have made an interference case there, but I can see why it's not been called as Bricknell gongs right on the mask.
I don't think then Bricknell took too much kindly to the little shove from right, but
nope.
Just a few words had between the two Canadians there.
Polite words.
Yeah, polite words between the two, I believe, Ontario natives. I believe they're both from that part of the world.
11:03 remaining in the third. Cats with a 2-goal advantage. Face off in the Bees zone. I feel the longer this period goes without a Bees goal, the harder it gets to get back in the game. Instead gets spun around by Johnson. Lipsy holding it against the Bees bench. Cathcart and Rose doing their best to deposit him into it. Bullis able to work his way through 2 Bees. Spins back to the blue line. Wells through traffic off the shoulder of right. Loose puck collected by Stead. Stead is tripped up by Lipsy. Sarcastic cheers from the Bees fans. Right to the bench. 6 on 5 on the delayed penalty call, which is immediately pointless and right will skate back. 10:20, so time of the penalty 49-40. Dylan Lipsy, 2 minutes of tripping.
A very clear tripping call. Good bit of cardio there for Max Wright, having to skate to the bench.
He might need it later.
For no reason. But yeah, a very clear trip and a chance with 10:20 to go for the Bees power play to big opportunity for the Bees here. They need to make the move. That's a Bees player being spun around by I think James Smith.
That was the Goodbye potential penalty. Is the Bees win the draw? Oh no, but
sure
the fans wanted it. Come on.
Yeah, entirely fair.
Well, good work for Billing to evade the hit from Mogg. Goodbye.
As I say, it's a big opportunity this for the Bees with about 10 minutes to go in the game to get themselves back in this one.
What I need is to set up shop. Antonov down to Goodbye. Goodbye. Can't find Antonov. Plews is there. Holds it for a second. Tries to launch it up ice and does. Right. We'll fire it up to Goodbye. He loses out to Godfrey. Immediately returns it back to the Bees netminder. 1:10 on the Lipsy liner. Balance. Mows through Tyler Plews. You don't see many people do that.
No.
Malasinski! That's uncharacteristic to say the least.
Yeah, definitely got the arm up on, I don't know which B that is, to be fair.
He's heading to the bench. 50-45 time and a penalty.
Yeah, it's hard to tell who that is, but maybe a bit, I don't know if that's a bit of frustration or just a bit of a case of big man, smaller man, misjudged it a little bit, but yeah, as you say, a bit uncharacteristic.
The referees are going to have a chat here.
I think it's worth having a chat. It's Vanya Antonov, and he does just seem to catch him up high on that hit. He does catch him up high on that hit.
2 is fair.
I mean,
the only thing that they could possibly extend him for is if an official has picked up the little look just before it's off camera.
Unfortunately, you're not going to quite see it on that one.
There's a little look just before. That's the only thing I can think of. And there is a thing nowadays in the rule book for 5 that if there is intent, they can do 5, but not 5
I think
again.
chucked him out.
And I think he's gone. Thomas Malasinski has been sent to the bench. We're going to wait and see.
I assume he's going back through the penalty box to get out, and that's the way out of the ring. But
we'll wait and see, because the doors don't open on the inside. They're very helpful. Yeah, Malasinski ejected. 50-45, Thomas Malasinski 5 and game.
If nothing else, not ideal for the Swindon Wildcats tonight, obviously. You've just lost Thomas Malasinski and you've got a 5-minute power play. They've got the Leeds Knights at home next. Any suspension for Thomas Malasinski, not ideal in that one, in that scenario.
Here's the call. Five and game for Checky to the head.
I can understand.
Nick, can you just wheel it a second? I don't think this is to the head. We'll wheel it at the break. Oh, here we go. As the Bees on the power play, Morg. We will bring you that replay in a second. I don't think he hits Vanya in the head. It looked chest.
Wow.
Goodbye, Morg. So contentious call number 2 of the evening. Here we go. Could this cause chaos? Goodbye. Angles closing down. 5 on 3 for 38 seconds. Finds way back to Goodbye. Shot. Big block in front by Glenn Billing. And the Cats clear. Goodbye. Mog. 5 on 3 for another 10 seconds, but more importantly 5 on 4 for another 4 minutes. Back to Antonov. Goodbye, down low, through everyone and out the other side. Cats return to 4 skaters. Antonov. Back to Goodbye, tries to go through traffic. There's no one there in yellow. Mog. Back to Goodbye. Shot saved by Mar and kicked aside. 8 minutes to go. 3:45-ish on the Malasinski major. Goodbye, winds up, fires, saved by Mar as the lane opened up. He could see it the whole way.
It's been a long, long time since we've had to say the words Malasinski major. It has happened
no,
once before.
Yes, and it was against the Bees in the Link Centre.
I was going to say, it has happened a couple of times before, but I think generally for back in the old days with blood being also on the ice, kind of penalties.
Good work from Ryan Wells to hold it into the corner and kill some seconds. Liam Morris making friends as always. Goodbye to Balaz. Bees still with it. That puck is knocked loose. No one in yellow sees it, and the Cats clear.
Yeah, good work by Johnson just to read that and to get it up out the zone.
3 minutes left on the Malasinski major as Ollie Nags has it behind the Bees net. Blown tyre at the blue line for Dan Rose. Hemmings-Mayer chips ahead. Rossbottom plays himself into trouble. Too many Bees in the same place as Wilstead has to collect the puck. Tries to spin away from Nell. Aaron Nell quite happy to send him the other way. Halfway through the major, 6:45 to go in the game. Must score opportunity now for the Bees. They need a goal. Rossbottom cycles it back round, shot in front, saved by Mar, and he'll hold on.
Okay, 2:19 to go. And
so here's that major penalty before he says on. I don't think he hits him in the head. So if you watch Malasinski there as he goes behind the goal,
maybe. I mean, it will obviously with the new Department of Player Safety review process. It will be looked at by Dave Flatman and Matt Thompson before it goes off to DOPS for any potential review. So we'll see what if anything comes out of that.
I thought him in the chest on the second one.
It does look a bit
like
higher.
He's got him on the jaw.
Yeah, and I think obviously it's probably not. I don't think there's necessarily intent there from Thomas Malasinski, but you've got to be smarter. And obviously you know that you're a bigger player than Vanya Antonov, so you know you have to be in control in that situation. Inside
the final 2 minutes of the major. Goodbye shot. Mar holds on this time. 6:08 remaining in the game, and frankly the Bees need a goal in this next minute 53.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big opportunity for the Bees. And equally, obviously, being a major penalty, the power play wouldn't expire if they did score, so you'd have a bit more potentially time on this power play to try and come level. But yeah, you know, obviously it's big. It's a big moment with, you know, there's 6 minutes to go in this game, 2-goal game. It's a big opportunity now.
Mog winds up, fakes out the shot, the block. Ballas shot, that's off the pipe work and wide. Mog winds up, fires through traffic, that one's wider than net as well. Goodbye collects it now. Mog steps in, fires through traffic, tip in front, Mar holds on.
Yeah, it's a good save by Rennie Mar with the screen and the tip in front of him. He just wanted to hold it, and Yeah, gives the Wildcats a chance to reset.
We had the perfect angle about the shooting lane just opened up.
Yeah, exactly. It opened up, and Mar, to his credit, trapped the puck really well there.
Face off to the right of Renimar. Won by the Bees. Back to Mog. Balance. Round to Goodbye. That shot is off the glove of Mai. Quickly throws it out. Scramble in front. And penalties being called here. 54-40. Sam Godfrey.
Godfrey's helmet is off in front of the net.
I think it's Liam Morris.
Yeah. I think Morris is the one going to the box. I don't know if Godfrey also is. There was a wrestling match going on in front. Yeah, it looks like they're both going to the box, so the power play will continue.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a wrestling match. Morris kind of gets Godfrey in a headlock there and drags him down. I don't really know what Godfrey did in that scenario, but maybe it was, to be fair, it could have been before that thing.
2 minutes for
that particular clip.
Aggressive cuddling.
Yeah, there was certainly a headlock in there for Morris, which is going to get called every day in a week and twice on a Sunday.
Face off, left of Mar, won by the Cats. Balaz inside the final minute of the Malasinski penalty. Back to Antonov. Chance stopped immediately and the Cats clear. We've sung the praises of the Bees for the penalty kill. The Cats, in their biggest test of the night, they've come up massive and they've kept the shots to absolutely minimal.
Yeah, there's been a couple of chances for the Bees so far, but as you say, the Cats have done well and they've managed to wind off most of this power play now.
Here is the hopeful commentator kiss of death. Balaz round the front of the net. Mar having to do the split, scrambles and pushes it aside. Damn, it almost worked. Mog. Balaz. Back across to Goodbye. Goodbye shot. Save Mar. Scramble loose in front. Bees unable to shovel it into the net. Goodbye. Hit from Bradley. Cats will kill all 5 minutes and break away. Billing on his own. One Mog to beat.
And then the other 3 Bees coming in behind him.
A very tired looking Bees unit. Stead.
In fairness, it was also a very tired looking Glenn Billing.
Yes.
At the end of a long penalty kill.
Stead still with it. Tries to find Rose. Stead does get dropped down by Plews. Cats to the front of the net. Chance for Bricknell, saved by the shoulder of right. Rose the other way. 3-on-1. Rose looks for Vanya Antonov. Good block by Aaron. Oh no, Aaron now. It's Tyler Plews.
Yeah. Nell was coming in with Antonov at the back door.
Bricknell.
Yeah.
Down low, right out of his net to play it. Kelly. It's a shove for a shovel from Sam Bullis, who immediately falls over. Dan Rose over the blue line. Slides it off to Antonov. Steps inside Billing, who has a go at the forward. Lot of tired legs going on now.
I was going to say, it's been a physical battle this third period.
Shipped on goal by Wells. Also by Bullis even. Right pushes aside. Mitchell over to Ross bottom. Max Wright looking at the bench. Goodbye. Tries to find Ross bottom. That pass behind him. Another player loses an edge. The Cats the other way. Bradley tries to get through everyone. Mog beats him to the park. Leaves it for Mitchell. Hemmings Mare over the blue line. Has a go. Puck takes a deflection off a stick. Bounces into the corner. Hemmings Mare follows in and collects the puck ahead of Billing. Gets puck checked away. Back to Mog. That puck bounces over the stick and out the zone. Mitchell can't find Hemmings-Mayer, both teams going for changes. Wright leaves it for Mitchell. You hear Van Rantenhoff screaming Mitchell to hold it as he comes steaming up the right-hand side. Plays the little pick off the boards. Chases it himself. He's going to have 2 cats for company as we enter the final 2 minutes of the game. Nags gets there ahead of Pecosdi. Down low. Cats bring it away from the pile. And clear the zone. This is all just going to be 90 seconds of shut-down hockey and kill this game off.
Yeah, I think
for the Cats.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what the Cats have got to do. They didn't do it well last week in Romford.
As the Bees ice the puck with 1:25 to go.
They didn't do this. This is a situation Wildcats didn't do very well in last week in Romford. They've started a lot better this time. Obviously, they had the penalty kill, which has helped. But yeah, they've done well in the last minute or so just to keep the puck kind of in the corners, stop them from being able to get right to the bench. Yeah, as you say, it's just got to be minute 25 now of kind of shut down sensible hockey if you're the Swindon Wildcats.
Mogg will carry it out in the zone, finds Wilstead, Max Wright to the bench. Balaz collects the puck, shot blocked by Bradley. Balaz collects 6 on 5 with the empty net. Don't let him do it again. Back to Mogg. Vietnam flashbacks for everyone. The Bees just keeping it in the corners themselves. Across the front of the net, Rossbottom tries to shovel in down low. Rossbottom back to Mogg. Goodbye, winds up, fires. That one's off the stick of Marr into the corner. Bricknell turns, fires, bounces off Goodbye, who kicks it aside. 40 seconds left. Mogg somewhat reluctantly goes to get the puck. I believe the Bees are going to obviously give it their best, but
time is not on their side anymore.
Time is an enemy now. Goodbye. Steps inside one, winds up, fires through traffic over the bar. Trying to shovel in short side puck, still loose in front. Skullmouth scramble, we can't see anything. Whistle goes with Rennie Marr starfishing on the ice.
Yeah, big scramble, but I think enough. Marr does well enough. He gets the body down and just, you see here, they're just players shoving sticks, and eventually I think it's just trapped under. It gets trapped under Marr, and there's no kind of opportunity for the Bees to shovel it home.
20 seconds to go.
Jake Bricknell, and I'm going to guess that's Liam Morris having words.
Oh, of course it's going to be Liam Morris.
What a
timeout, Bees with 20 seconds to go in a 2-goal game.
Well, you may as well give. I suppose the only thing is it does give you those top players that little breather before the face-off, but a chance to maybe set up a quick play and have one last chance. But
yeah, it's a practice simulation now.
Yeah,
isn't it?
well, exactly. It's probably too. You'd think it's too little, too late, but it's one of those situations where you've just got to try it. Got to try it, and equally they didn't really have an opportunity to call that timeout much earlier. Maybe they could have done it at the 1:25 stoppage, but
elsewhere in the league, Romford 4, Peterborough 3 is a final score, and there's Telford Tigers 4, Leeds Knights 5 in the third period. As I elbow Nick in the head. Unfortunately for you, Nick, I identify as a Swindon fan, so that's my penalty. I'm having fun. Face off to the right of Marr. 20 seconds to go. Wright still on the bench. I say basically just a practice. Can it work in a 1-goal game? The answer is not if you don't win the face-off.
That's the important part, isn't it?
Great work there from Liam Morris to stop the breakout play for a second there as we enter the final 8 seconds. Goodbye flips it into the corner. Question mark. And that is going to do it as it punches out into the crease. The buzzer goes, and the Swindon Wildcats skate away with 2 points and a 3-1 win here in the hangar this evening.
Yeah, as you say, it wasn't the prettiest third period. That obviously,
the prettiest game at all.
No, the Wildcats I think managed that last kind of 7-8 minutes well. Obviously, not ideal to giving up the 5-minute major, particularly for a player as important as Thomas Malazinski, but the Wildcats did a really good job of killing that one off and closing that out. The Bees will probably be disappointed. Obviously, there'll be some frustration with how that game has turned out, particularly obviously the massive momentum shifting kind of moment in the second period. But yeah, I mean, again, there's definitely positive signs for the Bees. They seem to have a decent system in place at the moment. And again, the question is always going to be, can you score enough goals? Obviously tonight they might argue they did.
Who's being insulting?
No, it's what it is. It's just I can understand, absolutely understand the frustration in that situation. It's not an ideal way for it to work out.
Again, the counter obviously to that is, if that does happen, the Cats don't play that third period the way they've done it tonight.
No, exactly. It's a completely different game going into the third if that's a 2-2 game compared to a 3-1 game. Like I say, the Wildcats will be pleased. They've come on the road and ground out a result. Well, I guess we'll see what happens with the penalties, but yeah, it's a positive win for the Wildcats. I think there were enough positive signs in that game if I'm the Bees. Certainly, I think defensively the Bees are pretty solid tonight. Again, it's just there were chances there in that game to kind of put the pressure on the Wildcats, and they maybe didn't take them.
The Wildcats obviously 7 points, as we know. The Seahawks have won. The Knights are leading in Telford, so they'll stay third.
Yep.
But a little breakaway group early on.
Yeah, but there's still a long way to go this season.
We're looking at a table of 4 games with 50 still to play.
Yeah.
The season is very young indeed. As we just wait for the handshake lines to finish up, and then we'll have the man of the matches, and then we play Can Joe Beat the Train?
Yeah.
The Bees, obviously, the question is going to be goals.
Yeah.
It's been a problem in these first 4 games.
Even taking away the moment in the second period, you're not going to win a lot of games scoring 1 or 2 on home ice. That's the simple. In two home games, the Bees have scored 1 goal or 2 goals. Sorry, one goal in each game.
I knew you were
meant.
trying to say
in the first 2 home games. So you're not going to have a lot of success if you're not going to be able to score on home ice, and I think that's the big one.
Man of the match for the Swindon Wildcats, Ed Bradley on his return to the hangar. A very good night for the D-man. He picked up the goal that started the ball rolling for the Cats, and a very solid acquisition for them.
Yeah, he played well. Sorry, is that Charlie McCarthy doing man of the match?
Yeah, for some reason we let the Maccas do man of the match this week.
2 of the Maccas.
Well, 2 of them. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Obviously the other one can't, as he's a team official.
Yes, entirely fair.
I will say this because they will watch the highlights later, and they'd make sure that they did one thing: Thomas Malasinski was never going to be man of the match tonight because I knew they were doing it.
No.
And then he helped me out anyway. Cats fans, thank you for joining us here this evening on the stream or in the building if you have been here. You are next here on Sunday the 17th of November, which seems such a very long way away, and yet it's still only 2 months.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously it's the Leeds Knights at home on Saturday.
Yes, the Leeds Knights at home, and then a trip to the Peterborough Phantoms on Sunday.
Oh goody.
Oh joy.
What a fun weekend that sounds.
Yeah.
And then we'll have shirts off the back. Obviously the Cats, job done for them. 4 points in the bag. Thanks for coming. See you next week. It's going to be the way they look at this game.
Yes, yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, they've gone through, 2 games this weekend. They've picked up 4 points. It's not necessarily been the prettiest, but that's not, I guess, what you're looking at the end of the season when you're looking at the table. So.
But then again, you need games like this. You need to make sure you're coming out on the winning side of it, which is something they didn't do last Sunday.
Exactly, and I think that will be something that Aaron will be pleased with, is the fact that they did see out that position, particularly with the 5-minute penalty kill in there. It would have been very easy with, you've got a 5-minute penalty kill and you've got the guy not on the ice being Thomas Malasinski. It would have been very, very easy to kind of panic after last weekend, but yeah, I think the Wildcats will be happy to have seen that out the way they did.
And these positives, obviously, the goal scoring we're hoping will come, but it's a 3rd game in a row where they've kept opposition to 3 goals or less.
Yeah, Max Wright played well defensively. They were good in front of him. We said the penalty kill was very, very good from the Bees all night. The only goal they conceded was on a 5-on-3. So yeah, I think there's a lot of positives, and the Bees what they did really well was they kept the Wildcats out from in front of the net. Wright was able to on the most part, make the save, and there was a Bees player to clear the puck. There wasn't too many times where he was having to make second, third chance saves.
It's something we didn't see a lot last season.
Yeah, I think they've definitely, there's clearly been a conscious effort to make an improvement of that this year.
So we have another birthday presentation.
Tyson.
Tom, you're lucky your birthday's in May. I would make you do this, just more out of the fact I know how awkward it would be for you.
Yeah, it would be tough. It would be tough for me.
So hopefully we'll get to man of match. Come on, I've got a train to catch. And man of the match for the Bees tonight, which I already know who it is, but obviously we won't go for the jump scare bit. Yet as it goes to, as I try and stall for time, because that's what Danny Purchett is doing as an announcer, man of the match is number 24, Dan Rose. Tom, that third line worked brilliantly well. They worked hard all night. Dan Rose, very good face-off draws, very good on the defensive end, and part of that defensive unit that helped kill multiple 5-on-3s.
Yeah, they did a really good. Like I say, they did a really good job, and it was a team effort to kind of keep the shape. Obviously, we know the Wildcats can be really dangerous if you give them too much space, and the Bees did a really good job of kind of getting sticks and getting bodies in the lane, and like I say, helping Max Wright out. Wright played well. Wright played really well, but he had a much more solid team effort in front of him than maybe we saw at the Link Centre a couple of weeks ago, where I think maybe legs got tired and that sort of thing. So.
Yeah, the Friday night game, obviously, we said it remarked at pre-season how he looked like he was getting used to a system.
Yeah.
Now we're a couple of weeks into the season, a couple more practice sessions into it. It's team look, it looks solid.
Yeah.
It's just a case of, are they going to score enough?
Yeah, I think that is the real issue. You know, at the end of the day, like I say, yeah, you need to be solid and play a system, but you do need to be putting the puck in the net, and that's not what we've seen from this Bees team quite enough yet this season. But you know, there's potential for it to come for sure.
As the Bees go for their lap of honour to the fans who've remained. Tom, thank you for joining me. Obviously, two out of three because we were both ill last week. And we'll see you next month because the schedule planner hated us this year.
Yeah, it happens.
But more importantly, the Bees are back on Saturday night. And so is Chris Beale. He's back for the first time this year as we ride the lightning and welcome Milton Keynes to town for the first league game of the season here, following pre-season a couple of weeks ago. The Bees looking to put a performance against a team that is notoriously quite bad in this rink. It's going to be an interesting game when we're back on Saturday, 6 days' time. Nick's already overjoyed. 6:30 face-off here at the hangar if you can make it. From us, for all of you at home, thank you and good night.